everybody? The Lawn Gnome is here, and this is Up From the Underground presents Football Week 11. With me, as always, are my two panelists on this wonderful channel. The man who knows how to handle a stick, stupid, the notorious Mr. Beagle.
Funny.
And the man who always knows when it's August, the great Captain Shenanigans. So, I'm just going to start out with this opening line. What is going on?
I don't know.
The winners lose, the losers lose, and for no apparent reason, here's a tie.
For the first time in like 4 years?
Since 2008, yeah.
I don't know what to make of this last week. I mean, we'll get into how we ended up doing last week with our 10 trifectas.
It shouldn't have been a tie.
If it weren't for those god-awful kickers,
No,
it would have ended a lot sooner.
No. First play from scrimmage for St. Louis, that 80-yard play, oops, not enough people on the line.
No, it's not that there weren't enough people on the line.
Yes,
it's that they weren't lined up correctly.
No, there were only 6 people on the line. You need 7.
No, I know, because they weren't lined up correctly.
Yeah,
one
that's
guy
what I mean by on the line.
Yeah. They basically, messed it up for themselves. Typical Rams.
It was a tie. That's all that I'm going to say about this.
It is, and it's embarrassing.
Bo? Or Slipknot?
I thought Slipknot was a heavy metal band with guys that wore masks and...
No.
Let's move on.
You're thinking of
Yes.
Guar.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of this. I mean...
Yes!
That was a very obscure reference.
Right?
Guar.
Seriously.
I figured that this whole week was going to be one-sided, and yet it ends up going in completely the other direction. So, I mean, we're going to get into a second topic before we go into the picks, so before we get into that one, we'll talk about bang your head in regards to Michael Vick, Alex Smith, and Jay Cutler.
And Fred Jackson. And there was a few
like
others,
20
too.
other
Well,
people,
not Roethlisberger.
apparently.
Roethlisberger unfortunately got his
No,
shoulder.
but there were other
people
players.
who got
not just quarterbacks. There must have been like 7 or 8 players. I don't have them in front of me, but there was a lot of them.
There's a whole list.
And I'm actually going to talk about that in a little while.
We got 3 major quarterbacks knocked out this week. Who knows when they're going to be returning, and I don't know what that's going to say about these teams and their overall performance because, believe it or not, we're past the halfway point. We don't have much football left to go, so the playoff picture is now the main
including this one. We have
topic
6,
of discussion.
right?
This upcoming week is the last week that teams are on bye. Afterwards,
That's
it's full football.
right. Wow.
So,
oh boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Red Zone's going to be exploding.
It's going to be, they're going to
So
have
it's so
that
funny.
thing.
Because last week I mentioned the teams that were in the lead with their divisions, and by the way, Captain, I think you might want to start picking out the condiments, because you may in fact end up eating your shit.
2 weeks.
I'm not saying.
Remember,
saying.
the Cowboys are still 2 games behind. The Giants get a bye, so...
Yeah.
Although the Cowboys do have a very favorable schedule.
And the Giants are not looking as good as they did earlier this season.
They do that every year.
They do it every year.
And it's usually,
Seriously, when they
November when they slump.
Yes. They always have a November slump.
And
And,
it's
that's
really-
when people are like, oh my god, Eli
But
sucks and
let's
Tom
not
Coughlin's on the hot seat.
Let's not forget Tony Romo's career record in December. He's arguably the
Actually,
best
he is pretty
December
good, yeah.
quarterback.
Which is crazy because usually they're out of contention by then.
And it doesn't matter, but it shouldn't matter because they play in a dome, so the weather doesn't affect them. Well, they've always
it's
played
not
in
a
a
whole
closed
dome. It's like a half dome.
It's still climate controlled.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And there's
It's
no winds.
Texas.
So as I was
Yeah,
saying,
that's true.
last week we talked about the division leaders, but it's ironic because the same thing happened today when Chris Carter came on with Mike and Mike in the morning on ESPN Radio. They were talking about the X factors, the teams that are showing something, and the question is going to be, do any of these have a chance of making the playoffs and possibly even making it to the Super Bowl? So once again, I'm going to throw out some teams, and I'm actually not going to say a word. I want you guys to break these teams down one by one.
Oh, I was going to say, one-word answers.
So, let's talk about the first team, Seattle Seahawks.
That's a very, very tough... You start with the hardest one, of course.
That's okay.
This is an interesting situation, especially because of the tie for San Francisco. San Francisco still has a game lead over Seattle. Now, Seattle's off this week, so
Yes, they are.
if San Francisco wins, they will have a pretty commanding lead. Seattle's schedule is not very favorable to them. They've already played the majority of their games at home, so they're going to be on the road a few times now. San Francisco has the tools and the weapons and the motive to go far for the rest of the season. Whether or not Seattle makes the playoffs is really not even up to them. It's up to the rest of the NFC. And as strong as the NFC is, I don't see them doing it.
I totally agree. Seattle does not have a favorable schedule. They're going to be traveling a lot in the upcoming weeks, and it's always tough on a team to be, especially from the West Coast, going all over the place. They're not bad, but I don't think they're good enough to put up a fight with the rest of the okay teams in the NFC. Because the rest of the okay teams in the NFC, in my opinion, they're much better, and they'll end up with a better record than the Seahawks. So their chances, like Mr. Beagle said, their chances of getting into the playoffs does not depend on them. It depends on everyone else sucking. So, and I don't really see that happening.
Let's put it this way. Seattle's record is what now, 6-4?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. I don't see them winning more than 3 games the rest of the year, to be
Really?
quite honest. Yes.
I was going to ballpark and say like 4.
Even 4.
Four,
That'll give
yeah.
them 10 wins. In the NFC, it's not enough. You're going to have 4 teams with at least 12 wins.
Especially in the North. Because you have the Packers, the Bears, and the Lions.
Let's bring up the other team in the NFC North, Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota, man. Maybe they're just as hard as Seattle. In their division, they're second in their division right now.
Yes.
I don't know. What do you think?
What do I think? Minnesota's not bad. Christian Ponder's having a bad couple of weeks, and I think the team wants to just replace his throwing arm at this point. They're really having to rely on their run offense, and it hasn't really produced as much as the organization would like them to. You know, a couple of weeks ago, they won a spectacular game, and you know the news media was like, "Oh, the Vikings are the real deal," and I'm just like, "All right, wait, hold on a minute. You know, let's see how they do the next couple of games." It's tough. They are the masters of their destiny. They have to go on a winning streak, the likes of they haven't seen since their last Super Bowl season.
See, I have to agree with that because Detroit's in last place and they're 4-5. So it's really a wide open division. There's only a few games separating everybody. I agree with you that they control their own destiny more than Seattle.
Oh yeah.
But it's still subject to the top teams. And I don't see the NFC North producing 3 playoff teams this year. 2, definitely.
Well,
But I don't think it's going to be Minnesota. I think it's going to be because you know what? Green Bay is 6-3.
Yeah.
They started off cool, but they're ramping it up, and they have so much talent. I just don't see them falling.
Steelers.
Steelers are playoff bound. After what they showed me against Kansas City, now, yeah, it was Kansas City. But still, even with Rapersberger going down, look at the defense. That is the most disciplined defense in the league, and that's what's going to win it for them. Roethlisberger will come back strong in a few weeks, and then they'll still put up 11, 12 wins this season, and probably win the division, quite honestly.
I agree.
Captain. Bengals.
Bengals. The Bengals are they're not a bad team. They're not exceptionally good either, but I feel like they're the victim of a hard schedule, and that definitely reflects on their win-loss columns. I'm not too sure on what their future schedule looks like, but if they continue playing like they played Sunday, then they might end up as a wild card, maybe. I don't know. It's tough. We have to watch and see what happens.
Mr. Beagle. Cowboys.
Well, I've said all year round that the
That's why I picked you.
Yeah. Don't read too much into the Giants' loss and the Cowboys win this past week. Giants are exhausted. The bye couldn't have come at a better time for them. The Cowboys, they have the tools. They have the coaching. What they need now is a bit of luck, and they need what the Cowboys need the most right now to make the playoffs is the Redskins to play spoiler.
Speaking of luck, Captain. Colts.
Colts. I wouldn't jump on the bandwagon and say that the Colts are a legitimate deal yet. I want to see how this season turns out. I think they're going to win the majority of their next couple of games. I think they're going to win the South. I don't know how easily. Actually, pretty easily.
Okay, so South, probably the bigger X factor in the bunch. Mr. Beagle, Titans.
No.
No?
No. They've gotten some good, strong wins, but it's just not going to hold up. They do play Houston again. They have to play the Colts again, and that's not going to bode well for them.
Nope.
They're not going to make a splash, but they'll always be better than Jacksonville.
They're going to fizzle out.
Okay, well, then I got two more teams after this one, which are probably going to be two that we may want to talk about a little bit more, but for now, Captain, San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah, everybody had high hopes for them coming into this season.
They're still 500.
They lost a couple of key players, but they acquired a couple of more. They're a 500 team. I feel like they shouldn't be. I'm not saying that in a positive way. I'm saying they should have lost a lot more games. Just the way they've been playing and the way... I'm not going to knock Phillip Rivers. He's not a bad quarterback. He just doesn't have enough options. They can't put points up on the board, and the defense looks like Swiss cheese.
Probably the two big X factors in the NFC. Who wants the Saints and who wants the Buccaneers?
I'll take the Saints.
Go for it. Mr. Beagle, you got the floor.
Drew Brees is a master at making things happen. He has a good supporting cast, and now that Coach Vitt is back, he's still putting the clipboard down his front trousers, just like Sean Payton did, and it seems to be working. And the Saints are coming together. They still have the worst defense in the NFL, but as long as you score more points than you give up, I mean, look what the Patriots did, a few years ago. They had the worst defense, but the best offense. They're going to make the playoffs as a wild card team. They're going to challenge Atlanta, but it's not going to be as close as people think it's going to be.
Well, one of the things I want to mention before the captain takes the last team, the Buccaneers, we're not talking about them much, but ESPN is suddenly going up in arms with how good of a season Josh Freeman has been having. A very silent season.
Do you know why?
He's putting up points.
I know this was your team, but I have to say, there's one reason why Josh Freeman is having a good season. Doug Martin. And as you so succinctly pointed out...
What the hell is a Doug Martin?
Exactly. Came in as an unknown, took the starting job away from LeGarrette Blount, and has just been dominating the defensive lines. He's been running through them, running around them. He's a pass-catching back, and is opening up the field for Josh Freeman to throw those deep balls to Vincent Jackson and Mike Williams.
Yeah. Vincent Jackson was a good pickup from the Chargers for the Buccaneers. I'm still not convinced Josh Freeman is even a good quarterback. I still think he would be a backup on any other team. The Buccaneers are making do with what they have, and it's the teamwork that's really working, and that's important, especially in football. You can't have singular players on a team. You have to play as a team, and that's what the Buccaneers are doing. And I give a lot of credit to Greg Schiano for that.
And you're probably in a very good mood this week before we go into our tallying and our picks, Captain, that no one's going to be hearing from Mercury Morris for the rest of the season.
I'm sorry we even had to hear from him once. So.
Well, it's done. There's none there can be only one right now in the world of undefeated seasons for one more year. So, Captain, want to go with station identification before we head on to the rest of the program?
Okay. Faithful viewers, if you're listening to this, you already know where we are. But if you're just tuning in, can you just tune in? What are you, just skipping through the things? Anyway, the point is, you're listening to Football Goulash.
So there's a belt this week, and once again, it's going to the captain. That's
Booyah!
3 weeks in a row?
Yeah, 3 weeks in a row. I don't think anybody has done that yet.
Well, it's still relatively close, guys. I can't hide that.
I'm worried.
We all sucked this past week.
I'm so worried, yeah. Oof. It's still close,
It is still close, so...
I've gotten used to the belt already, so...
So we only got like 4 or 5 right each?
Yeah.
Because remember, we couldn't count the tie.
Yeah, that's
right. So why don't we just add a 1 at the end of all our...
Confuse people a little
Well,
bit.
anyway...
Did we all pick the 49ers?
We all picked the 49ers, yeah.
I got the Titans right.
That is
surprisingly. I gotta give you credit for that one.
It was 37-3 is quite convincingly.
Ugh.
Well, to all of you people out there that are still believing in your fantasy football teams, as Mr. Beagle announced earlier in the program, this is the final bye week. We've got all teams playing after week 11 every single week until the season is over. So if you've got any players on the following teams, the Minnesota Vikings, the New York Giants, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Tennessee Titans, keep them on your bench. They're on bye week. Thursday night game, the Miami Dolphins against the Buffalo Bills.
I guess I'll go with this one first.
I love the fact that you gave me the bell, Mr. Beagle. It's not happening.
It's the troll pick. This literally is a troll pick. Which one do you think is a crappier team?
Well, I don't believe in Tannehill anymore. I truly do not.
I think the Bills are the crappier team, so that's why the Dolphins are going to win. I got nothing better than that. Really.
Fetch me the bucket.
Yeah.
No, wow! We're overlapping lines here tonight, everybody.
Although I'm going to disagree with your pick, I'm going to go with the Bills.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it's a night game in Buffalo during a cold front. Miami coming up historically does not play well in the cold. I don't care who you are.
This one is just...
I really thought that Tannehill was going to be the game changer in this team because he was really starting to work well with guys like Fasano and Bush and Hartline, but it's just not working anymore. I don't know why. Especially with the game that you saw last week. I believe that the Bills are still managing to have a little bit of decency when their games are over, so I'm going to go with Buffalo as well.
Wow.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Miami's not going to be ready for is C.J. Spiller because Fred Jackson is out.
Right. You know what? C.J. Spiller is pretty damn predictable, in my opinion.
I don't think so.
I think he's a route runner.
Buffalo has two very good pass-catching backs in Jackson and Spiller, so they're pretty interchangeable.
Let's start with the Sunday games, the 1 o'clock games. We'll start with our local boys, the New York Jets at the St. Louis Rams. Personally, I think it's going to be a good game to watch just for Jets fans, knowing that it's the Jets going up against Schottenheimer.
The Jets are gonna embarrass themselves yet again because Mark Sanchez is gonna be very Mark Sanchez-y, cheesy. Hey, okay. Anyways, the Rams are gonna win.
Because here's the thing about the Jets. If they want to actually end up with a decent record or possibly even a playoff spot, they got to start winning almost every single one of their remaining games now.
Yeah, that's
not
happening.
The only game that they may not win, or most likely will not win, is their game on Thanksgiving against the Patriots. Other than that, every other game that they're playing for the rest of the season, because they're playing real crap teams.
You think is winnable?
I think
the
that
Jets
everything
are
except
really
for
bad.
the Patriots, all those games are winnable. But are they going to win this week's game? I really don't think so. Rams.
What do you have to say?
That's going to be our first holy trifecta.
Oh,
I'm going with the Rams for one reason, because I'm Mr. Stat Guy. In 4 straight games, the Rams have scored at least 24 points. When was the last time the Jets scored more than 24 points? Opening day.
No, that's right.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That one game that we all still are trying to wonder how it happened.
Yeah.
Arizona Cardinals versus the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Eagle.
A 5-game losing streak going into a pissed-off Falcon dome. Ooh. Matt Ryan is, in his career, 30-4 at home.
That's one of the best records a quarterback could have.
Yeah. I mean, Matty Ice in the Georgia Dome, pissed off about the loss of the Saints. Falcons.
This shouldn't be a contest. It's going to be Falcons, and it's going to be a landslide.
I agree with you, because if it was Kevin Cobb, maybe there was a little bit of a difference in possibility.
No.
I don't know. I don't like Skelton anymore. I really don't.
I never really believed in either of them. After the performances they put up this season,
it's just a shame, considering what a great start they had, the Cardinals, in the beginning of the year.
They were one of the undefeated.
They were undefeated right alongside the Falcons. How funny is that?
Yeah, go figure.
It's not funny, it's sad.
Cleveland Browns versus Dallas Cowboys.
Oh my god. Okay, here's the deal. The Cowboys are looking pretty good right now. The Browns look like the Browns. Enough said. Cowboys win, especially in Texas. So
I have to agree. For slightly different reasons, I think the Cowboy defense is not going to let Cleveland score anything. If you're looking at a possible shutout here,
they might score 6.
No, not really. The Cowboys' offense is going up against a very tough defense, and Romo's going to have to be on his A game in order to win this, but he will be.
I think so too.
gonna be
Cowboys are
tough.
going to win because I just don't believe in Cleveland. I don't think that this team has what it takes. I mean, look, if Richardson didn't get banged up earlier this year, maybe they would have been a little bit better, but they're not. They're not clicking as well.
I will say that Greg Little spent the bye week having lunch with Alonzo Mourning
That's pretty
Why?
random.
to get inspiration, and he did inspire him and brought it back to the team. And from what I understand, they had a very, very productive week this past week in their practices.
Huh.
Green Bay
All
Packers versus the Detroit Lions in Detroit.
In Detroit.
Detroit. It's not going to matter. Green Bay is as strong as they've ever been this season, and the Lions they just can't bring anything together.
They're not terrible this year, though.
No, they're not terrible, but they're very touch and go.
At this
you
point,
don't know
yeah.
which Lions team is going to show up on the field.
I mean, at this game, they're right below 500.
Yeah, and at this point, you already know which Packers team is going to show up, and that's the
Yeah.
one that's been on a roll. Packers win.
Packers win.
Packers win.
Hey. Oh boy, it's one of these weeks.
Yeah.
And then watch us all lose.
Oh, don't say that.
Comment, like, and subscribe. And before we go back to the picks, we're going to go to the ranting Beagle, even though he may not be doing much ranting this week.
It wasn't really much to rant about.
It was a sad
just yell,
week.
get me off the leash. It's time for a little get on the boat and get off the goat.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or wherever the hell you are. On this week's edition of Get on the Boat, Get off the Goat, we focus on the highs and lows of Week 10. For the boat this week, I have to give extreme credit to every single NFL team. There were a slew of injuries, most notably a lot of concussions to very high-profile players. They were taken out of the game, they were analyzed, they were examined, and they were kept out of the game. Although Alex Smith said he threw that last touchdown blurry-eyed.
While concussed.
Yeah, which, believe it if you want, I think he just wants a little bit of attention. And so I have to give credit to all the teams for actually stepping up, taking the precautions, and putting in their backups, even though it might have cost Chicago the game, quite honestly. And, they're doing the right thing. They're saving the lives of their players, and they're making a healthier, more responsible league. For the GOAT this week, I mean, how bad can Matt Castle be? Lawrence Timmons is a huge guy. How could you not see him? I'm glad I actually watched the end of that game. I mean, come on. Stevie Wonder could have seen it, and Helen Keller could have heard it coming. And seen it. My stat of the week actually goes back to Matt Castle. The last time the Kansas City Chiefs won in Pittsburgh was 1984, 26 years ago.
That's
And
almost as old as I am.
And they won it in overtime.
Wow.
By the way, just
funny.
Go
a
figure.
small congratulations to the Chiefs for actually having a lead for the first time during regulation.
Yeah,
Well-
go figure. It only took 10 games.
And 67 days.
Yeah. Well, when you say it like that.
Anyway, I am Mr. Beagle, and that was Get on the Boat, Get off the Goat.
Once again, let's go back to Kansas City. Cincinnati Bengals versus Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead.
Just because it's at Arrowhead, and by the way, their next 3 games are at Arrowhead,
Arrowhead.
doesn't mean anything anymore.
I know, I'm just stating the obvious.
It's a nice stadium, but
No,
the
it's
Chiefs
not.
can't win.
One team reeling from a bad loss in overtime, the other one coming off a huge win of the Super Bowl champions. Come on, Bengals.
Yeah, this should be embarrassing for Kansas City as a whole. The Bengals are going to win.
Bengals win.
Oh, man. It is going to be one of those weeks.
Philadelphia Eagles versus Washington Redskins.
I'm saying it right now. Redskins are going to win because I feel like Redskins are going to win because RG3 is going to have a career day against this sad, pathetic, I know I'm repeating myself here, but there is not enough words in the English language to describe how sad the Eagles are.
I think the Redskins are going to win as well, but not for the same reason. I don't think RG3 is going to have a great day. I think it's going to be a pretty poor offensive day for both teams. London Fletcher is going to have a career day.
Yeah.
He's going to have plenty of tackles, might even have a fumble recovery or an interception.
Nick Foles just should wear a target on the back of his jersey.
I don't know what to say about the Eagles, but then again, I did have a lot to say in my bust this week, so we'll get into that later. But look, I don't really know what to say about the Redskins at this point. I really was expecting them to have a much better record than what they have right now.
They're going to play spoiler.
Well, as
Yeah,
far
they
as
are.
I'm concerned, I think there's still a lot more fight left in the Redskins and next to nothing left in the Eagles, so I'm giving the win to the Redskins.
Interesting note here. Last year, when Vince Young came in, he won 2 games in a row.
Wait, he did?
you
It wasn't
think
Vince
anybody's
Young
gonna-
who won those games. It was the Eagles. Let's give credit where credit is due.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Carolina Panthers. Wow, I did not look at this one!
yo?
This is Mr. Beagle. And let me tell you something. This is going to be a clash of epic proportions. 2 teams who have a lot to prove and who both have chances to make a splash. The Carolina Panthers want to ruin your day right now. They know their playoff chances are pretty much shot with the Atlanta Falcons and the Saints being as well as they are.
And they know Seahawks have the bye week, so someone's got to ruin someone's game.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, similar colors.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be a showdown of tremendous proportions. It's going to be a very high-scoring game. Josh Freeman's going to throw for 350 yards. Newton's going to run for 100 yards. You're going to have Steve Smith who catches a long touchdown. You're going to have Vincent Jackson catching a long touchdown. Both teams have decent defenses, but it's just not going to slow down the offense as much. You're going to have 20 points in the first quarter alone. That's how much it's going to be. It's going to be a tremendous game, and I cannot wait. I may watch that game specifically instead of Red Zone. That's how good it's going to be.
Wow.
But who gets the victory?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. It's going to be... I feel like it's going to be a very high-scoring game for both sides. But I think Tampa Bay is going to come out in front. I feel like they have the better offensive weapon. They have more offensive weapons than the Panthers do right now. Even though the Panthers are playing at home, the Buccaneers have been on a roll, and you can't really just stop them right now for some strange reason. So, Buccaneers.
No, I'm saying the Buccaneers too. And the
Wow.
reason why is because I feel the way you broke them down, Mr. Beagle, you were right on point.
Yeah.
But I feel that Tampa Bay just has a little bit more of that team chemistry. I mean, the Panthers are reeling. They're trying to find the ways to win, but the Buccaneers seem to just have that complete package as a whole team. And I feel that's what's going to give them the victory this week. Because you're absolutely right. They got a lot to prove, but I really think that in the position where Tampa Bay is right now, why would they want to stop?
And thus, we will see another Cam Newton feel sorry for himself speech.
Yeah, another one of those.
Speaking of feeling sorry for themselves, the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Houston Texans. Should we do a unison here?
The win goes to the planet Houston.
Comment,
those
like,
poor Jaguars.
I would love to see them lose, though.
That would be hilarious.
It would
on
be.
so many levels.
Comment, like, and subscribe, and let's go break away from the picks with a couple of lessons learned. Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has turned on the fasten seatbelts and no smoking signs.
That is correct, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, faithful viewers, this is your captain speaking. Going into Week 11, we can safely judge which teams are good and which teams are not. This isn't actually a lesson learned, this is more like a prologue. First lesson learned. Bears versus Texans. Please let that not have been a Super Bowl preview. Please, because that was terrible. It was boring. And basically, if it was, Beyonce would have to get naked to save that game.
Oh my
Okay.
god!
On a more serious note, Bears fear a serious brain injury after Cutler acts nice.
Ouch.
And also, Jason Campbell, still very Jason Campbell-y. Second lesson learned. Did anyone really think the Falcons would go 19-0? Survey
me.
says no. Not even the Falcons, apparently. I predicted from the start of the season... Oh, well, you can't really even say you predicted. They were easily going to lose 2 or 3 games. I just didn't expect the Saints to beat them at this point. So, there you go. Good for you, Saints. Alright, lesson number 3. Andy Reid, Norv Turner, and Rex Ryan. What do they all have in common? They are continuing their exciting race to unemployment. And why? Because they lose in horrible, sad fashion. I mean, I was attempting to watch the Jets game on Sunday, and I was just so disillusioned by the sloppy play that I had to turn it off. And I'm a hometown fan, alright? So, that goes to tell you something. Anyways, lesson number 4. Buffalo's game-ending interception, easily the most predictable thing ever. Buffalo is going to continue being Buffalo. Thank you, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Lesson number 5, our final lesson for today. Thank God. Alex Smith, Jay Cutler, and Michael Vick. What do they all have in common? They sustained concussions. This would lead to all kinds of new NFL rules if they were named Brady, Manning, or Rodgers. But these guys? Meh. Who cares? Not elite. That was your captain speaking, and that was lessons learned.
The captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. You are free to walk about the cabin. Thank you very much, Captain. Comment, like, and subscribe, and let's go on to the 4 o'clock games. The New Orleans Saints versus the Oakland Raiders. Saints win.
I wouldn't say it that fast. The Saints are in the black hole. Oakland is notoriously devilish when it comes to good teams that they're trying to dethrone. And Saints are on the up and up. I still think the Saints will win, but it's going to be quite a game.
The Raiders are going to put up a fight because they're the Raiders. They always seem to manage to look like they're attempting to do something. They're going to score mainly off of Sebastian Janikowski's field goals. And the Saints are going to win, but it's not going to be easy for them. They're going to have a tough game. So, there you have it. Saints. Yeah, Saints. Wow. Is it my imagination, or did Carson Palmer get fatter?
I don't.
Seriously.
Fatter than the slab?
No. But he has gotten chunky. Like, I wouldn't call him big boned, but yeah, he's definitely put on some hefty pounds there.
The San Diego Chargers against the Denver Broncos.
Shazizzle! Of course, fans, it's your captain. This is going to be a game to watch. Not because it's going to be a great game, but because I like watching Peyton Manning. He is just so good at what he does, and right now the Broncos are A, on a roll, B, clicking offensively and defensively, and C, they're going to continue this and roll over the Chargers and embarrass them in a divisional matchup. The game, Peyton Manning is going to cement the Broncos' dominance in the AFC West. I'm just going to find it fun to watch Peyton Manning be Peyton Manning.
I really didn't think Peyton Manning was going to do well this season, and he has done slightly better than I expected, but I didn't expect the San Diego Chargers to do this poorly. Norv Turner's very, I think you're right. Norv Turner's out of a job if this continues.
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying that since the beginning of the season.
So I think I'm going to finally see the light that you put forth, Mr. Gnome, and pick the Broncos.
Oh, snap.
I'm picking the Broncos. I mean, first of all, let's not forget the fact that the last time these two teams faced each other this season was a pretty interesting game because the Chargers were up by an enormous amount of points.
24-0.
And what does Peyton Manning do? He becomes Peyton Manning and does what he does best.
I called it.
I called it. Peyton?
Peyton being Peyton.
I actually had the Chargers taking the division, but I had the Broncos taking the wild card. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to go back to the tape. I don't think you guys had the Broncos going anywhere.
I don't remember, actually.
This team is going to be probably the biggest surprise to most, but not to all. I, for one, was one of those few that knew that Manning was going to be the exact same guy he was when he came back.
I was cautiously optimistic. I mean, how can you not be, when you've had 4 neck surgeries? But hey, being cautiously optimistic paid off, and there you have it.
And the last 4 o'clock game is the Indianapolis Colts against the New England Patriots. Hi, everybody. Why do I pick this game? I'll tell you why.
Yeah, why?
Because you've got the king, the man that has been the greatest quarterback next to Peyton Manning and Ben Roethlisberger for the past couple of years, against the new boy, who's on a crazy hot streak and is clicking with his team on all cylinders. I just feel that this is going to be a team that is going to surprise New England in Shaving Stadium. I just don't think that New England is going to be expecting a challenge from these guys. Yet, they've been showing that they are somewhat of a significant team who might end up with a wild card spot in the AFC South behind Houston.
They currently have the number 5 seed.
They do.
And I think they're going to have it.
If the season would end today, they would be in the playoffs.
And I don't see Tennessee or Jacksonville stepping up, and I really don't see any of these other teams out there really making a serious move.
So who gets the win?
I actually think that the Colts are going to surprise them.
Interesting.
Just because of the fact that luck, they just have a little bit of luck.
Well, isn't that cute?
It's also because of
But it's wrong!
Oh, boy.
How could you pick the Colts over...
It's like picking the Giants to win the Super Bowl in 2007 when no one thought they would.
I did.
Okay, you know what? You can pick your friends, you can pick your nose, but you can't pick the Colts to beat the Patriots. You have arguably the best quarterback of the last 10 years in Tom Brady. You've got a very good offensive line who haven't given up many sacks. You have a defensive line who is going to neutralize the offensive line of the Colts, who aren't very good. Luck can scramble, but the Patriots have linebackers that can reach him and that can run him down. And Reggie Wayne is really the only bright spot in this game. He's going to create opportunities for Luck, and Luck's going to hit him a few times, but there's just not going to be enough. Patriots are just going to put up too many points. Patriots.
I think a couple of weeks ago, when we were talking about the London game, it was Patriots versus Rams, and I remember distinctly you two guys picking the Rams, and I went into a tizzy because you fried my brains, because I'm like, what are you talking about? Doesn't mean I believe in the Patriots. I still think they're not as good as their record would lead you to believe. I actually think they're kind of a crappy team, to be honest.
They're still my Super Bowl representative for the AFC.
The only reason why they're going to the playoffs is because they have next to no competition.
They're in a terrible division, and they've had an easy schedule for the past 3 years. Okay, they're not as good as a team as you would want to believe. I still think they're going to win because they're at home, and they're going to take the Colts seriously, when most teams wouldn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's a valid point. Comment, like, and subscribe. The show is Up From the Underground Presents Football on our station, Football Goulash. And I am going to pull away from the picks and go with a little hero and bust. We're going to start always with the hero. While there are many great men in the NFL that have shown us the will to overcome the impossible in the 2012 season, there is one specific player that has yet to carry the weekly torch of hero. He has been on mine and everybody's radar this season, and now I think it's time to give him the day in the sun. No, I'm not talking about Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Because everyone has, will, and most likely will be for the rest of this season. Adrian Peterson of the Minnesota Vikings, will you please step forward?
Huh.
Known now as one of the greatest running backs in the game today, poised to be one of the greatest ever, this past Sunday ran for over 1,000 yards, and it's only week 11. A player that went down hard to an injury that no one was sure he would totally recover from, while the team as a whole had picked themselves up and became one of the better ones in the league this season, it was as if Mr. Peterson had never got injured at all. He is a force to be reckoned with and a true master of his game. One of the few players with still many years left to go in his career and is well deserving of the accolades.
You know who else broke for 1,000 yards? Obama. Marshawn Lynch.
Wait, really?
And now for my bust. I was wondering when I was actually going to give this title to this man, and now I am proud or possibly upset to say that I can. Michael Vick, the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. Michael, what's wrong? There is obviously something going on in that concussed head of yours. You have major trust issues with just about everyone. You can't seem to take a lick of criticism from your fans and the media alike. I am curious to know what is bothering you and why you just feel proud to leave it up to wonder. Your coach still says you are his starter, and he probably will next season when he's sitting on the couch waiting for the phone to ring for a coaching job offer. You need to let people in, and you need to let them know why you are in this present funk. I was one of your biggest supporters, even when you were in jail, because while your personal life was a train wreck, you left as one of the stronger quarterbacks in the game, and you still can be, even at 32. You just have to let people in. Hero and bust. That's it, guys. Sunday night game, the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This one's tough.
I know.
I don't know. You two guys convince me who should win.
I think it's going to be the Ravens.
Interesting.
That's funny. I think it's going to be the Steelers.
Oh
The
my
reason
God.
why I think it's going to be the Ravens is because of the fact that when it comes to a rivalry game in their division, the Ravens just play 10 times harder. Forget the fact that they're injury-stricken. I know that they want that top spot, and they're going to do whatever it takes to keep it.
I think they're going to be over-anxious. I think they're going to be over-eager to beat their division rivals, and I think that the very, very disciplined defense of the Steelers, even minus Palomau and minus the leadership of Roethlisberger, still they're going to be better than the Ravens.
Well, that's another thing. I feel that if Roethlisberger is not going to start, they may not win. I don't think that Leftwich is going to be able to carry this team. I mean, when was the last time this guy was a starting quarterback?
He can still scramble almost as good as Roethlisberger can.
Leftwich versus Flacco, I'm going with the Ravens. I'm sorry.
It's not going to be about offense. It's going to be about defense and special teams.
It's not because of Roethlisberger. It's not because of the offense. It's because of their defense. They stop everything in their tracks, which is why you see most Steeler games are very low scoring. This one's difficult. I've been pancaking back and forth between which team to choose. I think I'm going to go with the Steelers. They're at home. They want to keep the division crown. And I think the Ravens' over-exuberance for this is going to translate into a lot of penalties. And that's going to affect that team negatively. So Steelers.
Monday night and final game of Week 11, the Chicago Bears versus the San Francisco 49ers. If Cutler doesn't end up playing, ironically, this may be a game in which two of the starting quarterbacks may be on the bench.
It's going to be Colin Kaepernick versus Jason Campbell.
Who's going to win? Kaepernick?
God, that sucks.
It's interesting.
It's like a toilet bowl of quarterback.
Campbell is a pocket statue, whereas Kaepernick can run.
Yes, but they're not good passers, either of them.
No. But it's, I
This
think
should have been a good game. Sorry.
I'm picking Chicago on this one.
It should have been a good game, but it's not going to be.
I'm going to pick Chicago because I think they've got a slightly better defense, and I think they've got a bigger two-headed monster in between the runners and their receivers.
I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Bears because this game especially is going to come down to defense. And I think the Bears at this point have a better looking defense than the 49ers do.
This might be the first week I'm not alone on any of the picks.
Yeah.
We've broken a record, guys.
11.
Oh my God.
11 trifectas.
Oh,
crap.
That means you're going to keep your belt.
Yes!
There's only 13 games, right?
Yeah.
14.
Booyah!
Well, at least next week we'll have a little bit more leeway because we'll have a whole bunch of other games to use.
Yeah.
That's true. We're going to have 16 games.
It might just
every
break
single
open
week.
next week, yeah.
6 straight weeks of 16 games.
Good lord.
So, remember when I was talking to you guys about, due to the fact that we ended up having to cancel Week 9's recording because of the hurricane,
Yeah.
we were supposed to compare and contrast what we said at the beginning of the year and saw
Sí,
how
senor.
they do. So we're going to do that,
Oh.
but we're not going to do it in one show. We're going to do what... take on what Mike and Mike in the morning do on ESPN before the season starts, which is 2-a-days.
Wait, how many mics are there?
Well, there's many Mikes in this world, but I'm only talking about two
Mike?
specific Mikes.
Mike?
I'm only talking about Mike Golick and Mike Greenberg on ESPN Radio in the morning.
Mike!
And on ESPN too, if
Mike!
you watch them.
Dang it.
Anyway, we're going to do 2-a-days, probably beginning in week 14.
We do 2-a-days.
I don't think my labor agreement...
I want a new contract if I'm doing 2-a-days.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, basically what we're going to do is we're going to break down the AFC, let's give you an example, AFC South and NFC South in the same week.
Okay.
I get
And
it.
that's what we're going to do instead of possibly doing a news story.
14,
Anyway.
15, 16, 17, I get it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Let's finish with the West and both of them because they're both divisions are pretty
yeah.
I'm just going to pick them out of a hat. Unless you faithful viewers or listeners want us to...
Ooh, chime in, yeah.
let us know which ones you want to start with.
Yeah.
Or we'll just start it up and you guys just, feed us information.
No one's listening.
What? No, that one guy is.
On behalf of the notorious Mr. Beagle and Captain Shenanigans, I am the Lawn Gnome leaving you with a question. We mentioned a couple of teams known as the X Factor to possibly make a crazy playoff run, possibly a Super Bowl appearance. Which one do you feel has the actual accolades to get there?
No one.
I am the Lawn Gnome saying that actions speak louder than words.
God, I gotta put this down.
Meanwhile, at the Legion of Doom...
Not now!
Sorry.
Okay.